Stay. Hi, I'm Scott Van Pelt. Welcome to SportsCenter from our nation's capital. There will be a Game 7 Sunday, 3:30 Eastern on ABC. The Clips will try to be the first home team to get a win here. Three little things on this back-and-forth series thus far. We will get to that in just a moment as Kawhi Leonard is joining us right now live on SportsCenter. Kawhi, Scott Van Pelt, good to have you on with us again. Congrats, you were absolutely dominant tonight with 45. 25, the most shots you've taken in a game this series. How much of that is a conscious decision to say the hell with it? If we're going to go down, we're going to go down with me shooting.
I didn't have that mindset tonight. I came in with a defensive mindset, just trying to share the ball with my teammates. And, I was able to get a rhythm and I started knocking down shots. And, at that point, I just started being aggressive. But definitely, I did not want to go home.
Understood. And particularly in that third, watching you play, I think there's times where you're absolutely in a facilitator mode, but you really seem to start hunting your shot in the third and fourth. Is that the rhythm you were talking about?
Definitely. Like I said, I didn't want to go home. I had to exert myself into the game. My teammates found me. I got some open looks, knocked them down, and I just kept going from there. But I still stayed trusted with my teammates.
Speaking of a defensive mindset, in terms of trying to guard the pick and roll with Luka, we know that he's an awfully talented offensive player. It feels like more and more you're the guy that just you want to be with him regardless. How much of a philosophy shift has it been in terms of what you're trying to do on the defensive end with him?
He's a very dominant player, so I'm trying not to just give him no easy looks. That's all you could do with him. But you see it, he makes tough shots all game. He gets to his spots. He knocks it down. He's a hell of a player. So like I said, I just try to exert my energy on him, make sure he don't get no open looks, and we're talented enough to switch, and my teammates give me a break out there too as well.
All right, last quick thought. We know that this is the first time in history that it's been road teams that win all 6 games thus far. What has to happen Sunday for you guys to defend home court and move forward?
We have to get a win. That's our mindset. We got to do what it takes to get a win if we don't want to go home. So it's on us.
Kawhi, thanks very much. Appreciate the time. Good luck Sunday.
Thank you.
All right, as we mentioned, 3 little things on this back-and-forth series. Thanks to the efforts of Kawhi Leonard, matching a career playoff high with 45 points, the second most in Clipper franchise history, trailing only a 50-point effort from Bob McAdoo in 1975. Youngsters don't know anything about McAdoo.
Nope.
But he was a bucket. Friday, yet another win for the road team, apart from last year's bubble, which is a completely wholly separate thing. This is the first time in NBA history, first 6 games of a playoff series have been won by the visiting team. Game 7, as you undoubtedly are aware, in Los Angeles in the Staples Center. And while this will be Luka Doncic's first ever Game 7, it's very familiar ground for the Clippers stars. Kawhi's 6th, Paul George's 5th. Their last Game 7, though, was in the bubble against the Denver Nuggets, and that game went quite poorly. For them, anyway. All you can ask for in a game where a team's season is on the line is that it comes down to the fourth quarter, and Friday, that is exactly what we got. Twists and turns, back and forth, a whole lot of fight in those final 12 minutes from Dallas. The highlight from Dallas, where Luka and the Mavs had the opportunity to try to close things out. And here in the fourth, Kawhi hits the bucket. Clips have the lead. Tim Hardaway Jr. was just tremendous off the miss. He hits the deck but gets up quickly and ends up getting 3 the hard way. Dad loving it in the crowd. And the Mavericks regain the lead with a 1-point lead after the free throw is made. 6 minutes to go. Paul George, who had some rough stretches in this one, big bucket there. Back in front go the Clips. Then it's Leonard, and he was hunting his shot. Hits again. Everything always looks like it's in complete control with this man. Reggie Jackson. Oh my word. Nikola Batum on the alley-oop. I was not prepared for that. Batum was. And that lead is now 5. Kawhi, 2-point lead. Step back, steps into it, top of the key, gives Luka a bucket. Again, Kawhi. Again, it's Luka. That's a move that ought to be real familiar. That step-back three. Kawhi with 45, which ties a career playoff high. Luka, floater, rolls around and drops, trying to keep them in it. Again, Leonard. Again. All three of these. Huge shot from a sensational player who is very familiar with this stage and quite comfortable on it. Steve Ballmer. He was the happy billionaire of the two. And the Clips win by 7. Tim Legler joins us, and we'll hear from him a little bit later about the 3 series that we know we've got moving forward. But this one's still in doubt because of what we just saw from Kawhi, who joined us at the top of the show, and I wonder how you would describe how this game was ultimately decided.
Yeah, I love the word you used to describe Kawhi when you said Hunter. For me, Scott, this reminded me so much of the championship run he went on with Toronto. The word I kept using during that run was machine. That's what he went to, machine mode, autopilot, because he was looking for one thing. He wanted to win this game as a scorer, and I think Luka had the opposite approach. He was too accepting of the double teams. For me, that's where this game was decided. I'll give you an example right here. Luka was just not in the right frame of mind. Here, he comes off and gets the switch. This is not a double team. If you're Luka Doncic, you've got to attack Nicholas Batum. You've got to go by him, and you've got to get into this back line of the defense and occupy these two guys on the back line, knowing that you've got a shooter in the corner. But go engage, make something happen. Instead, watch how passive this is. He starts to drive. There's no double team. Kawhi Leonard just stays here in the elbow, and instead he gives it up to Maxi Kleber against Kawhi Leonard. That's not an advantage. That's a poor decision by Luka, but it gets worse. Watch the rest of the possession. Luka now just goes out to half court. I mean, he spends the rest of the possession standing at half court, being face guarded by Nicholas Batum. This is a critical possession in the game. It's a forced bad shot. Hardaway had a great night, but that's a tough look. But look what it leads to the other way. Because of that possession, you get a run out, you get a lob. Clippers capitalize. Take a look at how you converse this with what Kawhi was thinking. So here he comes. Now you're going to get a double team. Kawhi Leonard wisely is going to give the basketball up. But the difference is when he gives it up, he immediately starts chasing the basketball to go get it back because he knows what time it is. It is time to end it as a scorer. And some nights your best players have to think this way. So now you get the one-on-one. Take a look at this footwork. He's going to get him dancing a little bit. He starts to jab him. And then when you get the guy rocking back, take a look at the separation. 6-8 feet of separation. The big 3 of the night, for me, it was a mentality difference, Scott. And I think Luka came into the game hearing a lot of talk about Kawhi guarding him and is going to be taking the ball out of his hands. And he made some great passes throughout some of this game. And I was jotting a lot of those plays thinking, hey, maybe his passing will win the game. But at no point did he really click that switch like my team needs me to go get baskets right now. He never turned it into that. Kawhi did it the entire night, took over the game. Vintage Kawhi Leonard performance, one of the best I've ever seen him have. And now a 6th straight road win. Let's see if Dallas can keep status quo and make this all 7 and get a win on the road. But this was their chance in my mind to win this series.
What was interesting to me, Tim, is that in the third, I felt like that's when I really saw Kawhi find this gear where he was hunting shots, and he missed a bunch, but he was undeterred. I found that interesting that, and then he got hot, obviously, in the fourth. But that's a mentality that I don't always feel like I see, and when I don't know why. You know what I'm saying? Like, I wonder why that's not something that he brings to the table all the time, because there's no answer for it. Is that something that you feel like you'll see more of moving forward?
I think it will. I just think it's a moment thing with Kawhi Leonard. And I previewed this game on the 6th, and I said, what's it going to take for the Clippers to win? I said, flat out, Kawhi Leonard has to be the best player on the floor, period. And obviously he was by a wide margin. He was that much better than anybody else. And you see what he's done in these 3 road games. They kept talking about it. His shooting percentage these 3 games, it's obscene. It's Wilt Chamberlain type stuff. Like, those are the percentages he's shooting on the road. But it was obvious that his mentality was to take advantage of every single mid-range matchup that he has. That's his bread and butter. Now, he made a couple big-time step-back threes as well, but he got rolling with that 15 to 18-foot shot, knowing I got single coverage, I'm faced up. This is an impossible shot to defend against me because I time it so well when I want to get into it. He knew his team needed him to be better than Luka. And unfortunately, I think Luka premeditated how he was going to play this game.
That's interesting.
And it was too passive offensively for my liking. And I'm sure when he watches the film, it's going to be too passive for his liking. They needed more out of him offensively.
And that's interesting you mentioned that because that's something that Luka just moments ago mentioned about tonight. Let's listen in on what he had to say after. And he got that one step back. It's fitting right from that left wing. Kawhi gave him that traditional Luka shot. I'll shut up and we'll listen to Doncic.
I mean, he destroyed us. That's what it is. He had a hell of a game. And that's what, he does.
Thank you.
Hell of a game.
Okay.
Pretty much. Succinct, but not much more needs to be said about that. As we pivot and look forward towards a Game 7 in a series where it's all been road teams. I mean, I don't know how we know what to make of it, and I wonder how much energy, Kawhi's got. He's a spectacular player, but man, he's spending a ton of energy on both ends. What's your sense of what we'll see Sunday?
How in the world can someone predict what's going to happen in a series which 6 teams have won on the road? I mean, I really don't know what's about to happen, but here's what I do know. Luka Doncic is so smart and his ability to adjust. He's going to watch this film tomorrow. He's going to see a lot of opportunities where he was far too passive in accepting and trusting his teammates make plays. Look, they made some, and they had situations where they extended the lead 5-7. It was hanging around there. Looked like he's making the right play. And I'm saying the whole time to myself as I'm watching it, at some point, Luka Doncic is going to need to string together 8-10 points here because his team needs the one guy on their roster that's capable of getting a shot from anywhere on the floor because it requires it in the moment. He never really got there. I think that 29 points they just showed on that bar when he was talking was so misleading. That did not feel like a 29-point night to me. Some of it he got late. Some of it he got obviously the beginning of the game, big first quarter. In the middle of that game, second, third, and halfway of the fourth quarter, he was so quiet and waiting to see where the double teams were coming and trusting guys on his team that are good players, and they've been very good, but they're not Luka. And I think that's why I do hold out hope that Dallas can get a win on the road because he's going to be different. And the fact they hit him with that many double teams, and he knows they still were in the game because he wasn't really involved offensively, that gives me hope for Dallas. But ultimately, Scott, don't you think somebody has to win a home game in a series? I mean, it feels that way, right?
Well, I would just defer to the fact that, as we mentioned a moment ago, in Kawhi's case, this is the 6th time he's been in a Game 7. And Luka is a rare talent. But typically, as you know, this is a learning curve and a process in the postseason. It's his first Game 7. And George and Kawhi together have played in 11 of these. So I'm with you. I got to think somebody finally wins at home. But if Luka goes there and goes nuts, I think we just shrug and go, well, of course, we should have seen it coming. We'll get our answer Sunday, and we look forward to talking about it as we move forward, Tim. Thank you.
You got it.
Kawhi Leonard showing up in a massive spot. He's just the 4th player in NBA postseason history to rack up 45 on 70% shooting when facing elimination. So it's real specific, and naturally, Steve, it's a list, so Wilt Chamberlain's on it.
Correct.
He just, however many spots there are, Wilt already has one. Not surprisingly, LeBron's got one. Jamal Murray and Kawhi have the others. All right, still to come. Second round of the NBA playoffs begins Saturday. Tim Legler will come right back for what the key can be for the Bucks to try to slow down the Big Three, and how do you mess with Nikola? Oh, James Madison's magical run continues. Women's College World Series. More history being made. Giddy up. SportsCenter just going